So welcome back again. We are now here at the workshop on inclusion, sustainability and citizen social science. And we want to hear from Reidun Norvoll and Magdalena Meißner about the challenges and learnings that they have made in their work on the topic. We will look, because we had discussed before, citizen social science can be many things. Here we will focus on social science research that is done in a participatory way. And Magdalena Meißner is the first speaker that I want to introduce. Her background is in gender studies and religious studies. She's a researcher at the Technical University Berlin at the Center for Technology and Society, and she teaches social justice and diversity at the Ales Salomon University. She works on topics such as consumption, social inequality, and sustainability. And the second researcher we have with us tonight is Reidun Norvoll from Oslo Metropolitan University. There she works at the Work Research Institute and has a background in sociology. She works on topics like sociology of medicine and research on health service, and she has ample experience in doing participatory research, for example, with people affected by mental health issues and their families. Magdalena and Reidun, could you please give us an idea of what citizen social science means for you from your experience? What can it bring and where are also its limitations? And Magdalena, please start.
Okay, thank you very much, Claudia. I will just try to share my screen. And I hope it works. Okay. Can you see it? No, you cannot see it. Okay, now.
It's coming.
Oh, this is very stressful. Okay. Before I'm going to answer your question, I would like to present shortly our project, Naturkunde. So maybe you can better understand how we worked the few last years. Our aim was to do collaborative research about repair and making activities with people who are part of repair cafes and maker spaces. And we were looking at repair and making practices and asking how they are successfully appropriated and integrated into everyday life, and also how can we approach tacit knowledge, everyday experience and everyday knowledge, and look into the changes in relationship to consumer goods. But we are also interested, and this is also focus which I brought to the project in the possibilities and challenges for inclusive, sustainable consumption and for social inclusion and participation. So we asked if repair cafes or maker spaces or open workshops could make a contribution to social justice or empowerment of consumers. Here you can see a few pictures from our workshops with the citizen scientists. Okay, Participatory is a joint project coordinated by Technical University Berlin, and we had some practitioners, partners from the field. We had evaluation team, Nova Institute for Social Innovation, and but the most important part in our research were the citizen scientists, without whom we couldn't do anything. So. As you can see on the right side, our project or research process was divided in 4 steps. First, we developed the method with citizen scientists in collaborative workshops. Then the citizen scientists had approximately 3 months time to collecting the data and going through a phase of self-observation. Afterwards, we we analyzed the data together with citizen scientists in a few workshops, and in the end, we developed an exhibition as well as an online exhibition in which we also presented some of our research results. Okay. The aim of our project was also to develop cultural props methodology for citizen science derived from design research. We put together packages of 15 different creative tasks, as you can see at the pictures, that people fill in on their own time during the 3-month period of self-observation. Those tasks require citizen scientists to draw, talk about, keep diary, and make a collage or take a picture and so on, to reflect on their own repair and making activities in everyday life. As you can see at this slide, we get back very, very different props and very creative one. Right in the middle, you can also see some woodwork, which was really, really beautiful and really was done during our 3-month period of self-observation. But to answer your question from before, regarding participation in social citizen science project, we identified 2 challenges. On the first one, I name it now diversity, because the experience from our project is that it is really difficult to find and keep participants with different socio-economical backgrounds on the one side, and on the other side, it is also very difficult to find participants with different amount of experience on the investigated topics. So most of our participants had academic background, and although we put a lot of effort in addressing different social groups via really various canals, I would say if I had to do it again, I would really try to do it in a different way, and in going to places where maybe not just academic people with academic background have access to. But the second challenge we identified was actually understanding of science. So as you could see, we had many different workshops during the project, and in the first workshop we met with a lot of people interested in the topic, and we had to explain how we are going to research, and it was very difficult to communicate what we actually want to do, even though we informed about it in the invitation, and we explained what kind of workshops we are going to carry out. There was strong reservation against science, and especially against social science. So we were confronted with questioning the sense of social science, and later on, after we presented what we were going to do during the project, which methods we are going to use, we were also confronted with questioning the scientificness of our project. So it was a very interesting experience, but I think it also shows the problem of acceptance of social science in the society, because for the most of people, and this was also the voices we heard there, science is natural science, and science has something to do with numbers and charts and calculations, and nothing to do with everyday life and everyday practices. And in the same way, it was very difficult to explain to what we want to achieve with social citizen science and why it is important for us to really know exactly how the practices are integrated into an everyday life, and if it makes a difference if the people are involved in repair cafes or open workshops or not. So this was my first citizen science project, and it was very, very challenging in many, many ways, from beginning to the end, of the phase with citizen scientists. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Magdalena. Reidun, what about you? Can you give us an introduction to your work, please?
Yeah, I'm in a bit different situation than Magdalena, because we are going to start a new Horizon 2020 project at the Science with and for Society program in about February. It's called YouCount, and it's about empowering youth and increase social inclusion by co-creating social innovations and policy making. So we are addressing youth at risk of social exclusion. So, and so you just pointed to all the challenges, Magdalena. So I guess we will have a lot of challenges too. It's quite an ambitious project. So, but the point with this project is actually to work together with young people in the community and young students as citizen scientists, and they will, and also together with living labs in the community to develop social innovation and policy making. And the young people will be up from 15 to 29 years, so we have quite a broad range, age range. I think the project is a bit different also because we are in some way doing more traditional social science or citizen social science, because we are going to start with the partners in the consortium. We are going to start with developing youth co-creative youth citizen science, and then we are going to implement this concept of youth-focused citizen science in 9 countries as a multiple case study. And then we're going to use this as a way to have a systematic evaluation of the outcomes of citizen social science by looking at the individual outcomes, the social and political outcomes. So in this way, we hope to provide more the evaluation data or evidence to the potential of citizen social science, and also how this can contribute to sustainability. We are going to build on some youth research we've done in Oslo. Do you have the poster, Claudia, just to show? Just wanted to show you that we have at the Work Research Institute, we have a group of very clever scientists that have been working with participatory research with young people in several projects, and they're supposed to be here in the audience. So you might just ask for contact info if you're interested in this. But they have been quite successful, and they have also a lot of experience with working with young people that is often further away from science. So you can just see it here, how this might look like in practice. So we are also going to build on a lot of expertise in the other partners, of course. Just a short comment how we are going to work in practice with this to do the participatory research. And what we are going to do is actually to have a large research team with young people from the community and also young students that are going to work together with the researchers in the whole, and they will participate in the whole process from the beginning to the end. And then we will have a larger group of young people in the community or in the targeted group in the case. And they will participate in dialogue forums and also to provide observation of social inclusion opportunities in their lives on an digital platform, on an app, or and then we will use this data also in this living lab to generate innovations and community development and also policy making. So we will use different levels of participation and try to combine it as a way of using it. And the reason why we have such a large group of young people as in the research team is to try to mitigate some of the things you described, Magdalena, and the problems of engaging other young people. So the young people will contribute to design the research quiz question. They will come with suggestions how to design the app to make it engaging for young people and relevant for young people. And they will also provide support for the young people in the community by working with them and supporting them in many ways. So this is one way we are trying to increase engagement of young people that is often very further away from science, and like you said, that is outside the more traditional academic background. So it's a long introduction, but this is how we're going to work.
Thank you very much, Reidun. I see in the chat, Kersti is asking if we could perhaps add the links to the 2 project websites, if there are already, or maybe to your profile so people can contact you if they want to have more information. That only if you have time in the meantime, but hopefully you won't, because the next question I would like to ask to you is looking a bit more about the role, particularly of social science research. In an article from Magdalena's project, I recently read that we need to assume that under the current social conditions, we are rather going to replicate social inequalities if we are continuing to do just in a normal way. So from such a perspective, we would need to ask, how can we interfere with this reproduction in order to create more equitable futures and equitable science? And it is precisely here that I wanted to ask you, how do you see the role of social science research with participation for doing that?
Do you want me to start, or Magdalena maybe can start?
Oh, Reidun, please go ahead.
Yeah, should I? Okay. Yeah, what I think and what I've found from our previous research in the mental health field is that it's quite difficult actually to transcend, institutional, as a strong institution and social structure. It's really hard, and you can work for a very long time doing this. And also this points a little bit back to what's been said earlier today, that you should have quite a realistic views on that. But still, I think our start is that we think that science can actually be a positive driver to transcend or to create new structures or also relationships to go beyond this inequalities. And we can do that in different ways, because I think what citizen social science can do actually is to provide a lot of new knowledge actually by engaging young people and also stakeholders in research, and also that we get access to insights and information that we couldn't had without citizen social science. And thereby creating this knowledge, we are able to identify possibilities, for example, of moving beyond the state of the art. For example, in the UCount, we are going to ask young people to help us to identify positive drivers for social inclusion, and to really, by their lived experience, also how to to work to change your life situation in some ways. And I also think that citizen social science can be a positive driver by creating like more actionable knowledge or more transformative knowledge, and to work closely with the society or like the local community to create change. So there are some possibilities there that I think we should make much more use of. And thirdly, this last thing is that I also think that participatory citizen science can create social arenas, that open up for social participation or participation in research and innovation in a very special way. And what we are going to do in the UCAM project is also not think about young people living in disadvantaged areas, for example, as only vulnerable, but also as very important change makers and a very important innovative resource, because they have a lot of experience and knowledge of how to move forward. So in this way, I think we can move society or create positive change and also contribute to the sustainability and development goals. Yeah. Some thoughts about that.
Thank you, Magdalena. Do you want to continue on that?
Maybe just one thing about our article. This reproducing of inequalities was regarding the places we do self-initiatives and not regarding our research as scientists. So we said that the initiatives create a novel and innovative space and which have potentialities for change, power structures, and give some individuals the ability to gain experience leading towards empowerment. But we also saw that at the same time, the initiatives show the tendency to reproduce inequalities, to reproduce gender roles and gender stereotypes, and give some individuals, put some individuals in difficult, disempowering position. So if you are a woman and you are going to repair a cafe, you are confronted with a lot of expectation or not expectation about your capabilities or your knowledge. And also we found no evidence supporting openness and equal treatment towards minorities. And when I talk about minorities, I mean groups which are less privileged. So I don't think about ethnic minorities just. So we find out that about the places, repair cafes and open workshops, but we were not talking about social science or about citizen social science. But I think the role of participatory social science is very important, and I think it's very important to think or to put stress on the dynamic of social science, which evolve with the society. So we had this discussion about opening for new ways of research regarding qualitative and quantitative research methods, or introduction of participatory formats of social science. And now we have the discussion about citizen social science. And I think this is what makes social science special for me. And this is what shows the closeness of the research topic and to the society. So in some way it affects all of us, and I think it's very important that when we do research about society, about the structure in the society and the problems also, we have to be in an exchange and in a dialogue with the same society we do research about. So I think participatory social science is a very important thing, very important way to do this, to stay in a dialogue, in exchange with the society. And I think citizen science goes one step further and allowed us as scientists to get more insights from everyday life, which are not maybe possible to get through interview or participatory observation, because we are always there and always influence the situation we are observing, or we are always in the interview situation influence the answers of the person. But in our case, when we send the packages of the probes to our participants, they had a lot of time to do it by on their own, and we didn't interact in this time, so we didn't look at it, we didn't say anything about it, we didn't get any keys or any direction how to do it. So to come to an end, I think that and hope that participatory social science will be more and more a part of societal discussion about the future and about that how we want to live together, and also will continue to bring different types of knowledge together.
Okay, thank you very much. Let us open now for questions from the people who are watching. Unfortunately, we cannot take questions live here at Kulturbrauereien. We will also ask you to write them in the chat. And Justus is going to read them out for us.
Hello.
Voila.
So there were 2 questions already, and we'll welcome any questions here from the plenary or from all you viewers from where you are right now. The first question was for Reidun, more like about your project, if you're planning to include developing countries as well. And second question, I think that addresses both of you, is what do you think is the most important ingredients for a successful social citizen science project with marginalized, disabled people? In your opinion, what is your experience so far?
I can say something to that because this is something that lies on my heart, and I think what I have experienced and what I think is really important is that to plan the study, because co-creation of real social participation or participation in research doesn't come easily when you work with these groups. So you really have to work hard to find ways to strengthen their social voice or real participation. I can just give a very short example that when I was working with these mental health, other people with mental health issues, I had to, before we had like a workshop with different stakeholders, I had to work one day with them just to help them articulating their thoughts and their arguments and to strengthen their voice just to be able actually to participate in this multi-forum with other people. That's so we have to think about that, and also really be very open to what's interesting for them, because there is also, I think the value of this kind of research is when they are challenging you as a researcher, challenging the way you do research, the questions you ask, etc. So if you are very open to that and responsive to that, it is easier to build trust and also to get new knowledge and insights. Yeah, so this is something I'm very, also participatory research, good participatory research doesn't come by itself. You really need to work on that, actually, the whole way. And this is something like for you, Magdalena, as well. Isn't that your experience?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. So we didn't have the possibility to include our citizen scientists from the beginning, and I think that was a mistake. Even though we didn't have the finance and time to do it, I think it would be better when we had the possibility to include our citizen scientists before we put some proposal, before we had our research question. So at the moment, we just wrote another proposal for social intervention for SDGs, and this proposal is really more open, so that we are not knowing what we are going to do in this project, because we want to explore it with participants in the beginning of the project, to do something different to the other project, and to get the interest and the people more involved through their own interests on the project and on the issue we are going to work on.
Thank you. Janet Molina asked if you know any kind of toolkit or framework or something like this, which can be used for practitioners to check their inclusiveness somehow. So, like, do you work with like an established tool, something that you probably developed yourself, or something that's available, I don't know, everywhere?
I can say something. I think, like in the upcoming YouCount project, we will start by looking at previous handbooks. For example, if you go to participatory research in the social sciences, it's a lot of toolkits to be used also in citizen social science projects. So you can start there. But we will develop this as a part of the YouCount project, handbooks and educational tools for this. But I haven't seen it now, but I guess there might be something in the citizen social landscape somewhere. Do you know, Magdalena? Or?
No, and it was a point in our project which we really didn't think through before, and we had afterwards some in-depth interviews with some of our participants to look at their way or the understanding of the involvement, but we didn't we don't have a tool for it or something. We just interviewed them and asked them. So actually not we as academic researchers, it was our evaluation team from different institutes who did it. And but I think it's not a good idea, because we looked at the transcripts of the interviews, and we did not really get useful information. So if you are going to
but I guess it's a lot in the citizen science platforms, for example, like EXA, and also other citizen science platforms will provide information and advices and how to do it.
Could do, but I think that social citizen science are really special, and the involvement is also really special, and you cannot compare it to a lot of citizen science projects. So this is my experience from this project.
Yeah. And if I may add something to that, while people are thinking of further questions to ask, at the European Citizen Science Association, together with the Living Knowledge Network, we have a working group on inclusiveness, equity, and empowerment. And it is there that we have input talk from people. So we bring citizen science practitioners together to exchange their knowledge on how do they do inclusiveness in their project. And we've been having a range of workshops and input talks for the last 2 years. And now we're also starting to find a way to make this more accessible and gather it. So some of the EU projects, like the EU CitSci platform, or maybe the YouCount project, they can take this on board. But so far also we have not found any more guideline type of thing.
So definitely something we would need to further, go forward on promoting social citizen science, and because aspect of inclusiveness is probably not as much stressed in natural science projects, since they gather on the ground of a common interest in, I don't know, like natural phenomena or something. But here we're talking about social phenomena, and so participation has a different footing here, because we're talking about social phenomena where people from different levels of the societies should have a say in. So framework or toolkit or something like this definitely needed. I can totally support that.
Yeah, and I can also add that the U-Count project will systematically record the experience with doing this along the way. It's a part of the process evaluation. So we will also not only have a toolkit, but also trying to describe challenges and possibilities for doing this, and how we try to solve some of these challenges, because we are going to work with quite disadvantaged youth in a way, and to say it like that. So we would try to systemize our experiences of doing that kind of citizen social science research. So just to say that. So it's not only about the toolkit, it needs much more reflection along the way, you know. It's not easy solutions.
But frameworks like this help contemplating, about who are we actually attracting with our projects? Who do we want to have be part in it, and how do we make sure that everybody has a voice in it, that everybody is relevant to this topic? Anyway, we have more questions here from the participants. Alex is asking, I'm curious to know if there's any methodology and best practice to introduce citizen science devices, apps to participants who are newcomers or to complex digital technologies. It's probably for you, right? How do you do that?
Well, actually, what we are planning to do is to develop this app together with Spotrun. That is a part of as a partner in the project, and we will work very closely with the young people to do that. And also, we have in the project we have migrants, newly arrived refugees. We have also young people coming from urban or rural districts, disabled person with hearing loss problem. So we will try to integrate their views in the designing how to do that, because many of these people are not very much into these digital platforms, you know, so we have to adapt it in a way. And we will also use Arabic, for example, to integrate people that is not do not have literacy in English, for example, or in the targeted countries. So this is something that we will work on, because it might be difficult to include them. So we are going to work very much on designing by engaging the young people in it, and also the people that might be further away from these digital platforms. You know. If that was an answer.
Bridging the digital divide.
Yeah, as you said, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Magdalena, do you have something to add here, or?
Not really.
I know you've been very physical in your project. Like, it's not been so much focused on digital apps, but we're coming closer to the end of our session. But there's another very interesting question about the snowball sampling. So if you get a hold on underrepresented populations, can you cooperate with them to reach out to even more other underrepresented populations? And
yeah.
is there like a strategy?
It's similar to what I said. We are going to use young people as a door opener, or maybe as a way of getting in touch with other young people. That is the main strategy for that. But what we have found out in other projects is that it's very important that other young people can walk together with the other one and go into the arenas where young people are, you know, in order to recruit them. So engaging some young people and also different kinds of young people to support each other, to across, you know, within the groups, etc., is also ways of doing this. So in a way, it's a kind of snowball sampling, but or like a recruitment strategy. I don't know, but we have to see if it works. We try to do it like that, to have some key persons and then try to use them as a door opener, a bit like ethnography. How do you work with ethnography in field work, you know? But I don't know if you want to add something, Magdalena.
I think it's in an ideal world with a lot of time and a lot of preparation time, we could use the snowball method to get to different kinds of participants, but usually we don't have the time to do it in the project, and we didn't have the time to do it much more longer than we already did. But I think the structure of participants shows another problem, because it is our lives are already very stressful, so you have to be very interested in a topic to take the time and you know, go out and do something more for this kind of research. And I think the problem is that we are going to need like fundamental rethinking of our societal system and the focuses we have to, so the people who are maybe now too busy with working and taking care of children and so on, that they will get the space to, you know, to get to be involved in different kinds of projects. So I don't know if it's if it's the next topic or next challenge to scientists to have new ways to find the participants, or if we have to think about our time management, about our time. About how we can divide our lifetime, and how we have to change the social structure to get more free time for doing research, or for political engagement, or for what we are actually cannot do now with our focus of gainful work.
And there's a last comment, Claudia, is that I saw it in the chat, and that is, of course, really key people in the community, or to work together with, you know, stakeholders in the community, NGOs, people that working closely with the young people. That's a key to success, of course, also. So. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Magdalena and Reidun, for being with us this evening, for your patience to do this, and for sharing these experiences. And it is really, yeah, just from these last points, we see that there are a lot of bigger and smaller and more practical and more theoretical and philosophical questions that we still need to address. We hope that there will be further spaces like these conferences or your projects, and to have the chance to come together with you again. Now we have 10 and a bit minute break, and would like to then come together with all of you again in the last bit of this evening session, where we just put in common and share a bit of what we take home from the different workshops and from this evening session. We will not go back to that was the title slide for this workshop. We will not go back to the plenary like we had imagined before. Instead, they have now created a session which is called Evening Plenary, and I posted the link in the chat. And it would be great if we could go there, and then hopefully it works very well with the sound, and we are getting better at this as we go. Thank you very much, and see you in 10 minutes in this session.